Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown review. And Smackdown tonight, overall, though it was just a very meh show tonight. I mean, this was a tag team match show tonight. We had 3 tag team matches on the show tonight, and 2 were singles matches. One being a match that ended in a disqualification. But we did actually get 2 tag team matches that were for the Elimination Chamber, which I will get to. So, but overall, SmackDown was just a very meh show tonight. Let's get started with the review. So, SmackDown opened up. If you said Roman Reigns, you guessed it. SmackDown opened up with the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Came out along with Jey Uso and Paul Heyman, of course. So we had them come to the ring, and we then saw a replay of Edge when he appeared on Monday Night Raw, saying that he will wait until after Elimination Chamber to reveal his WrestleMania opponent. And I'm like, when he made that announcement on Monday Night Raw that he's going to wait for till after Elimination Chamber to reveal his WrestleMania opponent, I'm like, why is WWE prolonging this? I mean, if you were to choose who the right person for Edge to face at WrestleMania, it's Drew McIntyre. There you go. Edge versus Drew McIntyre is the match for WrestleMania. Get Drew McIntyre to face Edge. You have Bianca Belair versus Sasha for the SmackDown Women's Championship. There you go. That's what WWE needs to do. And people want Edge versus Roman Reigns. I'm like, Edge is going to be the person to take the Universal Championship off of Roman? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Edge is not taking the title off of Roman. And he's not facing Roman. WWE, like I said, what they need to do is have Edge make Drew McIntyre his opponent for WrestleMania. I'd rather see that than see Edge versus Roman Reigns. So then we saw Adam Pearce was in the ring. Adam Pearce was shown holding the contract. Reigns then ended up staring Adam Pearce down from ringside. So Reigns got on the mic and he ended up telling Adam Pearce to step a little closer to him. He was asking Pearce why he's scared. So Reigns ended up saying that Pearce waits on him, and that's not the other way around. So Reigns ended up talking about how he is in charge here and not Adam Pearce. He also went on to say that he's the sun and that everything orbits around him. Reigns went on to say that he also doesn't wait on Edge. So he was like, let's talk about Edge. Reigns ended up saying that he saw Edge in the ring last week and that Edge doesn't want it. He ended up saying that Edge got nervous as he looked him in the eye and that he was scared because Edge knows what he could do to him, what Roman could do to him. So Reigns ended up saying that he will beat Edge down so bad that he will have to be put on a Legends contract and just be an ambassador for the company. So Reigns was like, let's go ahead without Edge. So Roman ended up saying that he's not dropping the Universal Championship until he wants to, and that the Universal Championship is staying on his shoulder for good. So Reigns ended up saying, let's now talk about why he's out, why Adam Pearce is out. And that is the Elimination Chamber. Adam Pearce ended up saying that he's had the contract for a week, but Paul Heyman wanted to do it this way. Pearce went on to say that the contract states that Roman will defend the Universal Championship inside the Elimination Chamber. And this was all done because Roman Reigns said that he had a major blockbuster announcement. So we had Roman end up saying that he's going to let Paul Heyman handle this. So Paul Heyman then introduced himself to Adam Pearce. He ended up telling Adam Pearce that he understands that he has an agreement and that he wants them to take a look at it. Paul Heyman ended up mentioning how Roman's contract says he will appear at major events, including the Elimination Chamber, and that it doesn't say that he will defend inside the chamber, just that he will defend the title at the pay-per-view. So Paul Heyman ended up suggesting that the winner of the Elimination Chamber will receive a Universal Championship shot with Roman Reigns on the spot on the same night as the Chamber match. So apparently whoever wins the Elimination Chamber match after the Chamber, they will get to face Roman for the Universal Championship. So Paul Heyman ended up asking Adam Pearce what the hell he's going to do about it. And Paul Heyman ended up asking, how did WrestleMania go last year without Roman? Of course, last year Roman wasn't at WrestleMania because, he didn't want to be there because of COVID. So Paul Heyman ended up saying that it was the lowest attended WrestleMania of all time. Well, no shit. It was because there was no fans. It was held at the Performance Center. So they forget to acknowledge the pandemic. So Paul Heyman ended up ranting about the chamber match being held once again, and the winner receiving a title shot with Roman on that night. He ended up saying that Pearce is welcome. Adam Pearce ended up saying that there will be qualifying matches tonight. So we had qualifying matches on SmackDown tonight, but we didn't get it on Monday Night Raw on Monday. They're like, on Raw, we're not going to have qualifying matches for the Elimination Chamber. Let's just pick 6 superstars out of a hat, and there you go. Put them in the Elimination Chamber. They don't need to qualify for the Chamber. Let's just do it like that. So that's what they did. That's what WWE did. They took a top hat. They put certain superstars' names inside the top hat, and they just picked 6 superstars one by one. That's what they did. No qualifying matches. SmackDown tonight, at least they did some qualifying matches. They did 2 qualifying matches. So Paul Heyman ended up trying to interrupt. Adam Pearce ended up asking if he ever shuts up, which I laughed at. Oh, that was funny what Adam Pearce was like to Paul Heyman. Don't you ever shut up? So Pearce ended up saying that he has 2 superstars in mind. And these 2 superstars don't need to qualify, who have taken Roman to the limit. So Adam Pearce ended up saying that the first superstar who doesn't need to qualify is Jey Uso. So Adam Pearce ended up stepping out of the ring, and he starts talking about the last person who doesn't need to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. And that is Kevin Owens. So he names Kevin Owens as the second guy who doesn't have to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. Of course, they're continuing the story with a feud between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. So Roman ended up getting out of the ring. He got in Adam Pearce's face. He ended up saying that he doesn't care about anyone right now but Pearce. And Reigns was just still in Adam Pearce's face. Paul Heyman ends up coming out. He tries to get Roman to back away from Adam Pearce. Jey Uso ended up standing behind Roman. So he just had Roman and Jey Uso stare Adam Pearce down. Paul Heyman was getting them to back off. And that was that. So there you go. Roman will defend the Universal Championship against the winner of the Elimination Chamber match on the same night at the pay-per-view. So that was that. And then we had Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville stopped Adam Pearce backstage. She ended up congratulating Adam Pearce on standing up to Roman Reigns. She ended up calling Adam Pearce standing up to Roman incredible with what she saw. So Adam Pearce then thanked her and says they have to fill the chamber up, as she's already ahead of him. So Sonya Deville ended up suggesting a tag team match. A tag team qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. So that's what she suggested. So the first match for the Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Rey Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio versus Sami Zayn and Corbin. And I'm like, oh my God, how many times do we gotta see Dominik and Corbin? What is this, the fourth time already? So it's the Elimination Chamber qualifying match. So we had Rey Mysterio and Dominik. They both came out first. And then Corbin came out after. Then Sami Zayn came out. Of course, had his documentary crew with him. Sami Zayn was on the mic and he was ranting about having to earn a title shot and having the team with Corbin. So he was just going on about that. So Sami Zayn ended up finishing what he had to say on the ring apron, and he got knocked off by Rey and Dominik. So the match got underway. Rey Mysterio ended up attacking Corbin. Corbin delivered a knee to Mysterio's gut. Rey went for the 619, but Sami Zayn ended up tripping him. So Dominik then ended up nailing a suicide dive, took Sami Zayn on the outside. He took Sami Zayn down on the outside. So Rey ended up sending Corbin out to the floor. Rey and Dominik ended up running back into the ring. And then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, we had Corbin taking out Rey Mysterio. And Rey then ended up sending Corbin into the turnbuckles, tagged in Dominik. Sami Zayn ended up getting in, and Dominik ended up taking out Sami Zayn. Dominik delivered a backsplash in the corner to Sami Zayn. And at the end of the match, you had Corbin end up hitting Rey off the apron. Dominik end up blocking the end of days. So Rey and Dominik then end up hitting a double 619 to Corbin. Sami Zayn then came in, delivered a big exploder suplex to Dominik into the turnbuckles. Then Sami Zayn end up following up with a haluva kick, and Sami Zayn went for the cover. There you go. Sami Zayn and Corbin end up winning the match and qualifying for the Elimination Chamber. Really? Really? We're going to have Corbin in the chamber? God help us all. God help us all with Corbin being in the Elimination Chamber. Oh, God. I'm like, what has Sami Zayn and Corbin done? You got to have fucking Corbin in a Elimination Chamber. But overall, the match itself, it was a pretty decent match. Then we had Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce backstage with Roode and Dolph Ziggler, the Dirty Dogs, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So Roode and Ziggler end up telling Deville and Adam Pearce that they want to be in the Chamber match. So Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville end up telling Roode and Dolph that they have to beat Daniel Bryan and Cesaro to get into the match. So there you go. That was set for later on, which that match was the main event for SmackDown tonight. So then we saw Reginald. Reginald ended up walking up to Sasha Banks backstage. Sasha was talking with Kalisto. So Reginald ended up offering Sasha a glass of champagne. Reginald apologized to Sasha, and he ended up saying that he will never drop the ball again. So Sasha ended up asking Reginald if he really meant what he said when he said she can beat Carmella. So Sasha ended up laughing. She ended up telling Reginald to send Carmella her regards. So pretty much that was basically that. And then we had Big E come out. Big E ended up talking about retaining the Intercontinental Championship against the odds last week. So he went on about how he declared he would be a fighting champion when he won the title. So Big E announced an open challenge. So then out came Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews ended up saying that he's ready for another shot at the Intercontinental Championship. Big E ended up saying that he was issuing the open challenge to anyone but Apollo Crews. So Apollo Crews and Big E, they ended up having, a few words that were being said. And you heard Big E end up saying something to Apollo Crews off mic, and we heard it pretty clearly, which I thought that was pretty cool to hear. Big E didn't have the mic all the way up; he just had it down there. But we could still we still heard what Apollo Crews and Big E were saying. So Big E ended up telling Apollo Crews to go back to catering. So Big E then yelled for his next challenger to come out. So the challenger that came out to Big E was Shinsuke Nakamura. So Apollo Crews ended up watching the match, and he wasn't happy about that. So yeah, there we go. We had Big E versus Shinsuke Nakamura Intercontinental Championship match. So we saw Nakamura end up striking Big E, but he ended up running into Big E and went down. Big E was then working on Shinsuke Nakamura on the ring apron, and he had to pin the running splash to Shinsuke Nakamura on the edge of the ring apron. Apollo Crews was shown watching from ringside. So Big E ended up covering Nakamura for a 2 count. Apollo Crews was yelling at him from the ring apron. Then at the end of the match, Big E ended up trying to go for the big ending. Nakamura ended up sliding out. And Apollo Crews ended up kicking Big E, which the referee ended up calling for the match. So there you go. Big E ended up winning by disqualification. But that was that. So then we had Seth Rollins return. Seth Rollins made his return tonight on SmackDown, which that was the only thing that they announced for SmackDown tonight with Seth Rollins' return. That was the only thing that was announced for SmackDown tonight. They didn't announce what matches we were going to see tonight. It was all done around Seth Rollins' return. So we had the SmackDown locker room started to walk down the ramp. So they were lined up around the ring like they were lumberjacks. So Seth Rollins came out. Of course, he had his Burn It Down entrance music return, which that was cool to hear. Seth Rollins came down with a suit. He had a red tie. So Rollins ended up getting on the mic, and he ended up saying that it feels good to be back. You know, it just feels right. He ended up saying that this is where he belongs. Seth Rollins ended up saying that a lot has changed since he sacrificed himself at Survivor Series. He ended up saying he knew it would. And he said what has changed the most has been a surprise. And he ended up saying that, as most of us know, he recently became a parent for the first time. He ended up saying that he's the proud father of a beautiful, perfect baby girl who has changed his life in ways he never dreamed of. So he ended up saying that change has given him a new perception. And that new perception has given him a new vision. So Rollins ended up saying that he looks around the ring and sees some of the most talented individuals in this business. So he ended up saying that he looks at SmackDown and he wonders where he fits in. So he ended up saying that he is the great leader that SmackDown needs to push into the future and make it greater than it already is. He ended up saying because success and leadership is not about what you can do for me. It's about what I can do for you. So then the superstars have heard enough. They end up walking to the back. We saw some of them throwing their hands up in the air out of frustration. They did not like what Seth Rollins was saying. So Rollins ended up still continuing what he had to say about how he can lead. He ended up saying, for a better tomorrow and a better SmackDown, all you have to do is embrace the vision. So Rollins ended up making his return as a heel. And he had on the side of his entrance, it said, embrace the vision. So Rollins ended up looking around. Everyone left. Everyone left, except for Cesaro. Cesaro was still out there. And Rollins ended up saying that he knew Cesaro would get it. And that he knew Cesaro would understand out of all the people. So Cesaro then shook his head and walked away like the other superstars did. So Seth Rollins ended up rushing out of the ring. And he ended up dropping Cesaro on the ramp. He ended up taking Cesaro's knee out from behind. Rollins ended up tackling Cesaro and started punching him, started loading on Cesaro. Referees ended up coming down. They tried to get Rollins off of Cesaro as Rollins was still punching away at Cesaro. Daniel Bryan ended up running down, ended up decking Rollins. So Daniel Bryan ended up checking on Cesaro as Rollins ended up looking on. Rollins was shown smirking. And pretty much that was that. So Rollins made his return as a heel, has this new embrace the vision gimmick. And with Daniel Bryan attacking Seth Rollins there, I'm like, there you go. Seth Rollins is going to be facing Daniel Bryan. They teased it right there. So there you go. It's going to be Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins in the feud. But overall, the segment was pretty okay, in my opinion. Then we went to Bayley versus Liv Morgan, which this was meh, in my opinion. So we had Ruby Riott there, along with Liv Morgan, of course, with the Riott Squad. Match started with Bayley end up driving Liv Morgan into the corner. They went back and forth. Liv then dropped Bayley into the ropes, end up drop kicking her in the back. We saw Natalya and Tamina watching backstage. Of course, Billie Kay had to come out later. Billie Kay was trying to apologize to Ruby Riott. Billie Kay was carrying stacks of her resumes, which got knocked into the ring, which distracted the referee. So Bayley ended up taking advantage of the match. She raked Liv Morgan's eyes. And then Bayley ended up dropping Liv Morgan with a Rose Driver. And that was that. Bayley ended up winning the match. But post-match, we had Bayley end up stopping. She ended up laughing at Billie Kay. Billie Kay was shown picking up her resumes. And that was that. Moving on. Kayla Braxton was backstage. She was interviewing Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. We had them say that Seth Rollins wasted everyone's time earlier, but he will not waste his own time. So Cesaro ended up saying, despite what happened out there with Seth Rollins, he is able to compete, and he will qualify for the Elimination Chamber with Daniel Bryan. So Daniel Bryan ended up pointing out to Kayla Braxton how tough Cesaro really is. And that was how the interview ended. So then we saw a video showing the Street Profits. They were at a Daytona Motor Speedway. It's because they're promoting the NASCAR season, because on Sunday it's the Daytona 500. So the Street Profits were hanging out with Chase Elliott. So they presented Chase Elliott with a custom WWE Championship. So we saw that. Then we had the Street Profits versus Otis and Chad Gable. Another match that was just very meh, that I did not care for. So we had the match start off with Dawkins driving Chad Gable down. They continued back and forth. Chad Gable ended up getting the upper hand. Chad Gable ended up hitting an arm drag to Dawkins. Dawkins came back with an arm drag. Gable then got another arm drag. Dawkins got another arm drag. I mean, the first thing in this match is just all arm drags with Chad Gable and Angelo Dawkins. So the match ended with the Street Profits winning. Montez Ford delivered the frog splash onto Chad Gable. That was that. The Street Profits win the match. But overall, the match was just very meh, in my opinion. So then we had Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks was in the ring. She ended up saying that everyone is talking about Bianca Belair's big decision, because we're on the road to WrestleMania. Sasha ended up saying that she likes Bianca Belair a lot, because she's like a little sister to her. Sasha ended up saying that there's just one decision for Bianca to make, and that's her. So Bianca then came out. Bianca ended up saying that she sees Sasha and heard her. She likes her too. Bianca then ended up again in the ring. She ended up saying, no, Sasha is not the boss of her. Bianca ended up saying that it's her time and that she's enjoying every second of it. And everyone is talking about her WrestleMania decision. And so then we had the Women's Tag Team Champions come out. Nia, My Hole, Jax, and Shayna Baszler. And I'm like, am I watching SmackDown or Monday Night Raw? How did this show right here turn into Monday Night Raw with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler coming out? Oh yeah, that's right, the Brand Invitational, or the Women's Tag Team Championships, where they could appear on any show. So Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, they end up knocking on Bianca Belair and Sasha. So they end up wondering why no one is talking about their win. So they end up saying that they should be getting the spotlight. Sasha ended up saying that she heard they might show up tonight, so she came prepared. So Sasha ended up showing footage of Monday Night Raw from this week, where Naomi ended up beating Shayna Baszler, which was a terrible, god-awful match. So Sasha and Bianca end up laughing. Sasha ended up saying, oh, that's not the footage she meant. So Nia Jax goes to Sasha and says, you better not do it. And that she was like, oh, don't you dare, Sasha. So Sasha and Bianca end up taunting Nia Jax. And then Sasha ended up showing the footage of Nia Jax yelling out, my hole, during the tables match that she lost to Lana on Monday Night Raw this week, which was another god-awful match. That was the only highlight of the match, with Nia Jax going, my hole, and then it became a big meme on social media. So Nia Jax wasn't happy. So we had a brawl break out between Bianca, Sasha, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler. Nia Jax got taken out to the floor. So we had Shayna Baszler got double teamed by Sasha and Bianca. So we had Nia Jax end up clutching her backside once again. But only this time, when she did that, it looked like she was laughing. It looked like she was laughing when she landed on the ring apron again. So then we had Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. They were dancing together in the ring. And that was that. Well, yeah, so we had Monday Night Raw on SmackDown tonight with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Did we really need it? No. So then we had the main event. Roode and Dolph Ziggler versus Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. Qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. This match was okay, in my opinion. Match started off with Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler ended up landing a shoulder to Daniel Bryan. Went for the cover. Daniel Bryan ended up kicking out at 2. Daniel Bryan ended up dropping Dolph Ziggler with a kick. Cesaro came in. Him and Daniel Bryan did a slam to Dolph Ziggler. Cesaro went for the cover. Ziggler kicked out at 2. So Roode ended up coming in, and Dolph and Roode ended up double teaming Cesaro. Cesaro then dropped Roode with a shot to the face. Daniel Bryan came back in. Roode ended up ducking a kick from Daniel Bryan, and he rolled up Daniel Bryan for a 2 count. Daniel Bryan went for the yes lock, but Roode ended up getting to the bottom rope to break up the yes lock. So we saw Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. They were watching backstage. And at the end of the match, Cesaro and Daniel Bryan ended up getting the win. Cesaro ended up locking in the sharpshooter on Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler ended up tapping out. So there you go. Cesaro and Daniel Bryan are in the Elimination Chamber. Post-match, we had Sami Zayn and Corbin out there. So it was Zayn, Corbin, Jey Uso, who also came out, and Kevin Owens. So we had Daniel Bryan and Cesaro turn their attention to Sami Zayn and Corbin, who were at ringside. So then Jey Uso ends up coming in and hits Cesaro in the back with a chair. Daniel Bryan ended up getting sent out to the floor. Sami Zayn and Corbin were waiting to double team on Daniel Bryan. So we had a brawl breakout. So Corbin and Sami Zayn end up coming in. Sami Zayn ended up turning on Corbin because, of course, Elimination Chamber. Every man for themselves. So we had Daniel Bryan end up leveling Sami Zayn with a running knee. So then out came Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens made his way down. And Kevin Owens then delivered stunners to everybody, which Michael Cole sounded like a broken record when he was going, stunner, stunner, stunner. So Kevin Owens ended up delivering the stunner to Sami Zayn, to Corbin, to Jey Uso, to Cesaro, to Daniel Bryan. So Reigns and Paul Heyman were watching backstage. Reigns was, of course, pissed off. So Kevin Owens ended up taunting Reigns. He took the chair, set up in the middle of the ring, sat down, and he was speaking to Roman Reigns. So Owens ended up speaking into the camera. He ended up telling Roman that he's coming for him and that they are not done. So Kevin Owens ended up telling Roman that he's not going anywhere. He ended up saying that he will see Roman soon. So Kevin Owens was still continuing to stare into the camera, and that's how SmackDown went off the air. But overall, the show tonight was just very meh, in my opinion. We have Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, and Sami Zayn and Corbin in the chamber. And I'm like, oh God. They made the chamber. WWE has made the Elimination Chamber somehow worse than it already is. Can't believe we got to induce seeing Corbin in an Elimination Chamber. Like I said earlier, God help us all. But anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and until the next video, I'll see you all later.